Today on the Hangout, the Raptors hold a dunk fest out in Philly. And no Kyrie, no LeBron, no Love, no way on big game hunting. And is this Disco Dirk's final dance in the NBA? Hangout! Basketball fans, welcome into the belly of the beast that is the Air Canada Centre. It's that time again for another very special episode of Hangout. I am Nicky Augustine, of course, and now it's time for me to introduce you to our guests. He's still here. Well, actually, he wasn't here yesterday.
You can't get rid of me.
You were in Philly. You hopped on a red eye. You're back. This is Dan Gladman, producer of the Raptors broadcast. How was last night?
Last night was awesome. Another great game and lots of cheesesteaks. Lots of cheesesteaks.
Shout out to our guy Alvin Williams, too.
Yeah, Alvin Williams did the show on Sportsnet last night. He's a coach for Philadelphia right now, but he does TV, and he is outstanding on the tube.
All right, someone I've known for a long time, a veteran in the basketball scene, actually a friend of a friend. Gareth Wheeler used to be in the grill room back in the day. Now you're, of course, running the court with Sheridan and the Bounce guys.
Yes.
Give it up for Nicky Davis. How you doing, buddy?
I'm well, thank you. Glad to be here. First timer.
All right, and our
treat me
own
with kid gloves, please.
No, never, never. It's gonna be a
First
rough show for
time
you. I apologize.
speaker, long time listener. Is that
And of course, our fantasy sports expert, our good lady Ashley Docking. How you doing?
Good. How are you? Are
Tired.
you gonna leave your arm there the whole time?
Is this
Yes.
not cool?
Should I like lean in?
I
I just
feel-
didn't know.
this is like a
Is this like a
comfortable-
movie, like movie
comfortable
day?
vibe.
By the way, what was the spread of the Raptors game last night?
Yeah.
They won by 9.
What was the fantasy spread? I don't
We don't know.
play fantasy.
We do DFS, so we
Okay.
do our lineup. So Iman Shumpert
Oh,
was
it's
someone that
fantasy, right,
people were
it's not-
doing a lot,
What
not
is-
gambling.
What is DFS?
Daily fantasy sports. So instead of
Oh.
a season-long league, you don't have to set your lineup based on who you drafted. You could draft people every single day.
Okay, all right. Well, I suck at all that stuff. Trust me, Pro Line's taking all my money. Let's jump
Raptors
into
covered. That's the important thing.
Yeah, the Raptors covered. And was there anything to glean from this game? Like the final score is 123-114. I'm surprised Philly even got 100 points. But what did you take away, Dan, from what you saw on the court?
Well, I mean, from the Raptors, it was same old, same old. Killer offense, a couple of ups and downs, a little bit in the first quarter and the fourth quarter. But it was encouraging if you're a Philadelphia 76ers fan. There's some nice young talent there. They're, probably 2 years away from being 2 years away from being a
little
really
closer than
competitive
that.
team. I don't.
The East is muddled.
They're not going to be in the playoffs for at least 4 years, I
Three.
think.
I'm going to go with 3.
Okay.
Go with 3.
But
All right.
real nice promise there in Philadelphia.
Okay, let's start with Nicky since it's your first time on the show. This Toronto Raptors team is a team known for its defense. Right now, they are the most efficient offensive team in the league, and they are middling defensively.
Yeah.
So are you more concerned about where they stand defensively, or are you encouraged by where they're at on the offensive end of the ball?
I'm more concerned about where they stand defensively because offensively in the playoffs, when teams game plan you, they're going to find a way to neutralize, Kyle. They're going to find a way to neutralize, all the good players on Toronto. So the challenge is defensively, can they get stops? And they have so many mental lapses. Like even last night in the game, that game was a 19, 21-point game at one point in the late third quarter, early fourth quarter, and it ended up being a 4-point game at one point. And
Philly
I know
scored
it's
40 points in the fourth
Yeah, no, I
quarter.
know. They just have these mental lapses defensively and I get it. You think you've won the game. You're putting in your bench players. You think it's okay to go on. But I find those lapses also occur with their starters. And I think that's what I'd be more concerned about because, as well as they are offensively, and they're an offensive juggernaut right now, as well as they play offensively, in the playoffs, those things get neutralized, and defensively is where they got to pull up the boots, and especially rebounding.
Ashley,
rebounding.
what side of the coin are you on here? Are you happy about the offense? Worried about the defense?
The offense is amazing. Obviously, if you can score, it's going to negate days where you do have those mental lapses that Nicky mentioned. But in the playoffs, as you also mentioned, the points aren't there as frequently as they are. Golden State Warriors, I believe, they average about like 10 points less per game in the postseason, and they're an offensive force. So the defense has to be there because you have to sometimes be able to steal those games on the other side of the ball. And everyone says a defense leading to offense is one of the ways that you can kind of really pull away in games. And
I'm gonna agree with you guys.
Okay.
You know why?
Why?
Those Cleveland games. What were they decided by?
Defense.
It was decided by the inability.
I was going to say, what do you mean?
I'm going to disagree.
I would say the one,
Okay, we have a
hold on,
disagreement.
the one thing that you remember from the playoffs in that LeBron game was the block on Iguodala.
Yes.
And that was a defensive play, and that was one of the most important.
Or
plays of the
Kyrie's
series.
shot. I don't know.
Sure.
Okay, go.
Okay,
How do you
first of all,
disagree now?
there isn't anybody in the NBA who can reasonably guard and defend the Cleveland Cavaliers. Sure, the scoring averages might go down a little bit in the playoffs. I don't think anybody in the Eastern Conference is going to be able to neutralize the Raptors' offense. Golden State's points percentage went down a little bit, but that's because they're playing better teams. They're not playing against the Sacramento Kings and the Philadelphia 76ers.
But the other thing, though, is that you're playing the same team over the course of 7 games. It's not like I'm not playing Cleveland today and then I got to play them again a week later where they got to worry about 4 other teams in between. They're only worried about you. That's why scoring goes down in the playoffs, because you can focus and hone in on how am I going to stop this team on this particular night. And you can do it for 7 straight nights.
Sure, you're playing
and that's
teams with
why
better defenses, but the Raptors have a historically efficient offense right now, and I'm definitely not worried about the offense. It's not going to be neutralized, but defensively, of course they need to improve. Of course they have lapses. Every team in the league has lapses. Nobody has shown that they can play defense for 48 minutes a game, 82 games of the season.
No, and I agree with that, but you're not. What I'm saying is, in the playoffs, so if there's something I have to worry about, is that you can't just turn on defense when you want to do it all the time. It has to be part of your daily.
Man, they gave up
routine.
40 points in the fourth
But
quarter.
in the
It's one of
second
the
and
worst
third,
teams in
but
the
in the
league.
second and third quarter, their defense was sharp, and that's when they won the game. The fourth quarter, they kind of went to sleep.
That's the concern
DeRozan
here, no.
didn't even play. Why is that a concern? That in the
Well, it's a
playoffs,
concern 'cause
that's
it's
not
trying
going
to
to
win.
happen in the
Falling
play.
asleep in the fourth quarter is not a concern.
It's a regular season game in December. Like I said,
They're all regular
you can't-
season games
you
up
don't-
until the 83rd.
You don't sustain that level of effort every single
But
game.
you're not
They just won
Okay,
it back.
all right.
They just swept it back to back.
Go.
I was going to say, you're not concerned with just like the amount that it's changed, though. They were one of the top defensive teams in the league, and now they're closer to the bottom. It's fine if it's like a middle
girl.
round.
Get 'em, girl.
But if it's going to
Get 'em, girl.
No, it's not about.
I like it, though.
I'm not
Tell 'em,
concerned,
tell
I'm not
'em.
concerned at all.
I just think
I'm
that
not
when you're
concerned at all.
tired, I think after you've played a full season, when you're have that all emotion of those playoff games, you want that defense, that fundamental instinct to be where you need to be already in place, and not something that has to be picked up that much.
They know what they have to do, and they do it in big spurts during games when it's time to win the game. To look at the fourth quarter of a December game against Philadelphia and say the defense just is.
Hey,
I'm not
looking.
looking
You look
at
back
fourth
at the
quarter.
games you lost, and you say, "Man,
But I'm not even
They've
looking at
lost to
the fourth quarter.
Cleveland, the best team in the league.
I'm not even looking at fourth. I could say that in around 8 to 10 games this year. It's been similar. It's not just this one game last night against Philly.
Definitely
It's
room
something to
improve.
conserve. Yes.
Definitely room to improve on.
Okay, cool. We've talked about the offense. We've talked about the defense. Let's talk about the bench. That was an area of concern coming into this season because guess what? Bismack was not there anymore. He got the big money in Orlando. Now, Orlando is surprisingly better than I thought they would be, but you look at the numbers that Bismack's putting up in Orlando, very similar to the numbers that he put up here in Toronto. So my question is, do you feel he regrets a little bit? Like, is there any – he could be for championship right now if he's here. Right now he's playing with Aaron Gordon and 9 other power forwards.
Regrets.
Regrets.
How much money is he
Financially,
getting?
no.
How much money?
regrets cost?
Financially, no.
$8 million.
Got no
Ooh,
regrets.
Dr.
He has
Elon.
no regrets. Would he prefer to be on the Raptors with guys who he considered his brothers? I'm sure he would.
And winners.
Well, Orlando has a chance to be a competitive team still.
Well, and you can't turn away money that you talked about when your value is going to be probably at its all-time high. Like, I mean, where was his stock going to go? Probably nowhere but down. You said he's averaging around the same amount in Orlando. Fine, you have to capitalize on that. The things that he's probably been able to do for his family, for different charities, wherever he wants to spend his money, that stuff is stuff he's never going to regret.
And he has lots of time in his career
Yeah.
to go parlay himself with a winner. To parlay himself with a winner and get a championship. That's what he's looking at.
He does look really old.
Have you guys been outside today?
Yeah, exactly.
It's not bad living in Orlando.
All right, well, Orlando will be in the playoffs in 2030. They've got a guarantee from their front office, so I guess you just hold out till then. Right now, we got to go to break. We will be back with more of Canada's Home for Talking Hoops. And LeBron, thanks for ruining this kid's Christmas by just sitting out. Were you back in Cleveland? Was he watching the game on TV? Damn, son. Head out!